Hello and welcome to the channel. My name is Lauren if you're new here, but if you're not new, this video might look a little bit familiar to you because I like to do this video every single season, partially because I love talking about my eyeshadow palettes. And you know, this year has been not the year of the eyeshadow palette. Especially for me. I feel like I haven't been reaching for my eyeshadow palettes as much lately. I've been basically reaching for eyeshadow sticks and any sort of one and done eyeshadow, which I actually did a video on my favorite one and done eyeshadows. If you're curious, you can click on the link wherever it is. And I have just been neglecting my eyeshadow palettes. So we have now been joined by the star of the show, Hunter. But this video really gives me the opportunity to revisit my eyeshadow palettes, to go through what I have and to see what really fits with the season. Now, it is spring 2025. We are actually dangerously close to summer. Like, we're almost there. And I just feel like spring in California, where I live, doesn't really exist. It goes from, you know, cold, mildly cold. I mean, it never really gets really, really cold. Mildly cold to just like hot. Like this weekend, it was 87 degrees on Saturday. It was beautiful. But I definitely had to whip out the sunscreen many a time when I went out. So when I was picking the palettes for this video, I was like, what is spring 2025 to me? And it's not pastels. I can tell you that right now. I've never been a fan of pastels. You know that. I just feel like I can never see them very well on my eye. So there is some, I would say, pastel adjacent palettes in here, but no true pastel palettes, because that's just not how I feel that this spring is going. It's not a pastel vibe to me. So here are the 10 palettes that I pulled out that I have been using this past couple of months and we'll be continuing to use throughout spring and revisiting and just really enjoying and really kind of fitting the vibe of spring this year. So I'm going to start with the smallest palette. That is from Clionadh. I love Clionadh. There is like a very decent mix of indie and mainstream brands in this pile, but Clionadh is just, it's kind of like that brand where you've heard of it. And this is a palette that I got in one of the, I think it's 12 days of Christmas, something like that. I'll link it above so you can take a look at it. But it was like a palette that you didn't know what you're gonna get, and there was like, everything was wrapped up separately in these little packages, and you like could unwrap one every day, and they had a bunch of It was a really cool idea. I love that Clionadh does that. But this palette in particular, I don't think it has a name. It's just gorgeous. But these colors are just absolutely stunning. The white I like to put in the corner of my eye. It just makes everything pop a little bit. And look at this blue. Like, look at this. It's like a periwinkle. It's just stunning. Like, Clionadh knows how to do their shimmers so well. And these colors just really speak spring to me. They're bright, they're playful, they're fun, and they're also ones that I can kind of do a one and done look and just put on my eye, and my eyeshadow looks amazing. So this is the #1 palette. Well, not the #1, this is just #1 in my list. Okay, next is a palette that is a little bit newer to me, and because it's newer, I haven't gotten as much use out of it as I want. So when I was pulling palettes for this video, I used this one a couple times and enjoyed it so much. So this is from Oden's Eye, and this is the collaboration they did with the Fancy Face, and this is the Hummingbird palette. So this is the outer packaging. It's just so pretty. And I love that with Oden's Eye, the outer packaging colors really matches the color story of the palette. So you're not really getting anything very different from what you're seeing in whatever the picture on the cover is. So this is the Hummingbird palette. There's one in particular that I have really fallen in love with. It's this one called Fancy. It's just like this ethereal purple shimmer, like coming from out of this world. Like, look how beautiful that shimmer is. And that's not to say that is the only color I like. They're all gorgeous. They're really pigmented. They go on so easily. It's a bright, fun palette. I'd say it's bordering onto the end of spring vibes because it's much more colorful. We're getting a lot of pigment in these. It's just really pretty, but it still reminds me of spring and like the beginning of the blooming of the flowers. If you live in a tropical location, I guess. But it just is something that I've been reaching for, and it's a really fun palette. And I don't hear this one being talked about quite as much, and it's really good. This next palette is an example of what I mean by like bordering on pastel, but not quite pastel. And that is from Cosmic Brushes, and that is the Delicious Delights palette. So here is the, oh, with the hair, here is the outer packaging. And then we have like a really bright, fun palette. And I will say that some of these colors are just straight up pastel. So not my favorite. When I mean like not my favorite pastels, I just mean like they don't have a whole lot of pigmentation to them. So when I put them on, it's hard to see. You can barely define a color. And some of these are like this. Minty is a little bit like that. It's just very light. But then there's enough in here that I really, really enjoy. The purples are really beautiful. The blues are really pigmented. And the shimmers are quite beautiful as well. Fizzy is this gorgeous, like, gorgeous green, minty green. And it has pigment, and it's beautiful, and it reminds me of spring. So it's, again, like bordering on what I would consider pastel, but it's more pigmented than what like your typical pastel would be, which is why this palette made the cut. So this has been really fun to play with and revisit. This is another one where I didn't get it when it first launched. I was like waiting for it to go on sale because I didn't think I needed it. And then it went on sale and I bought it, and then I took forever for me to touch it. So when I did, I was pleasantly surprised with how much I liked the purples and the blues and that green. Obviously, you can tell by here that there are colors that I love, right? I recently did my ColourPop palette declutter where I actually got rid of a third of my ColourPop palettes, but I kept this one for a good reason. And this is the Winx Club collaboration that ColourPop came out with. And I kind of, I'm not gonna lie, went back and forth on whether or not I needed to keep this. And I ultimately decided that I did want to because I really enjoy playing with this palette. And it really is very springy to me. And it's just really pretty. And the colors are not crazy pigmented, but they're just these beautiful, like bright beginning of spring, very springy color story that I really enjoy. And again, I really enjoy playing with this palette. It makes me happy when I use it, and whenever I use it, I really like the look that I come out with. So not really like the typical palette that you would see me fall in love with. So a little bit of a surprise to me as well. But yeah, really enjoy the Winx Club. I talk a lot about Natasha Denona palettes. Normally you'll see one in one of these spring or summer or winter or fall favorite palette videos because I just feel like her palettes are fantastic. I really do like the Natasha Denona eyeshadow formula, and they're just like so many great uses for the palettes. So it was really hard for me to decide which Natasha Denona I wanted in this video. But the one that really screams spring to me, I know this is almost embarrassing, okay, but I've been using this one a lot and it's spring, so I have to include it. But it's the Need a Warm palette from Natasha Denona. Not the purple one, not the pink one. It's this one. It's the nude-ish, warmish nude one. And this is what it looks like. And yes, it's so boring, but everyone needs a good neutral palette in their collection. And this is a fantastic neutral palette. And look, I tend to not only, but I like cooler toned palettes. And Natasha Denona has come out with some great cool toned palettes. This literally has warm in the name of it, and I have been using it. There's just something about it that I really like. I really like the formula. I really like the golds in here. They just are so pretty. This is Snug. So I wasn't going to swatch too many, but clearly I lied. But you have to swatch them, right? So Snug is the one right here, and it's just like a great basic gold color that looks fantastic. It's just an easy palette to use, and it's the perfect palette to pull out if you're like, say for example, doing a really bright cheek or like a really pink lip. This is a good neutral palette to kind of play up other portions of your face. So love the formula of this palette. I know it's a little bit boring, but it's the color of dirt. I don't know, like there's a lot of dirt in the world in spring. Plants grow out of dirt. I'll make it work. It works, okay? Okay, so this is another one where I bought it on sale because when it first launched, I was like, I don't need that palette. Like, it's pretty, but I just don't need it. And I can't buy everything Blend Bunny comes out with. I was wrong. I can absolutely buy everything Blend Bunny comes out with, which also, just as a side note, I saw them pop up on Nordstrom. So that's amazing that they were able to get onto a huge platform like Nordstrom to sell their eyeshadow palettes, because I don't know the semantics into getting onto a platform like that, but it's gotta be very difficult. But this is actually the palette that I have on my eyes today, minty green. You know, I love my minty green, but it's the Longing palette, 24 tragically beautiful shades. And why did I didn't want this palette at first. I didn't want this palette because I felt like I had a lot of palettes that were similar to this, had a similar color story. It just was a bit repetitive for my collection. And I'm really glad I got it, primarily for the greens and primarily for this color over here, Pleading. Pleading is such a beautiful gray toned purple color, and I cannot get enough of it. And is it a unique color? I can't think of a color exactly like this, like the gray purple. I have similar colors, but I don't think I have one exactly like this. So this color alone was worth getting the palette for. Little ridiculous. But also the shimmers are just so pretty. If you're looking for like a blinding white shimmer, oh, that sleeve over here in the corner, let me swatch it for you. On my other hand is an icy white. You can see it across time and space. It's just icy, it's beautiful, and all the shimmers are really, really pretty. Now, do I think you need this palette if you have all of the other Blend Bunny palettes? Probably not, but I actually really love this palette. So I'm glad I got it while it was on sale, but I have been using this for spring. It just gives me spring vibes. It's kind of like the beginning of spring where it's still a little cold, like flowers are just starting to emerge from the ground. It's still a little bit gray out, but you're beginning to see signs of color. So that's what this palette reminds me of. And it's just really pretty. And I really like the look that I have today. Again, those minty greens, it's a minty green kind of spring, I feel. And this palette is great if you're looking for some really pretty minty-ish greens. Personally, do I think Pat McGrath is worth the hype? Not always, not always. And I have some of the Mothership palettes, but I think for the most part, indie brands do it better. But there are some exceptions. There are some palettes that Pat McGrath has come out with that I absolutely love and I think are completely worth the price. No one else did for this one. This, I don't know why. People did not like the collaboration Pat McGrath did with Bridgerton. There was not a lot of love for it. I really like this palette. I've actually included it, maybe it was in last spring. Favorites for last spring, possibly. But this is the Mothership Belle of the Ball palette. And this one, it's just so basic. There's nothing like fancy, overly fancy about it, but this is another fun one. And I just love this for spring. And like, there's something about Bridgerton and the colors in Bridgerton, at least the early seasons, that are very like spring vibes to me. And this color in particular, again, I know we went with a minty green, right? Always. Just look at that. Isn't that, you know, I'm gonna swatch this on the other arm because I don't know if holding my hand as awkwardly as that did the trick, but it is just the most beautiful minty green, light minty green, and it just blends out so beautifully, and everything in this palette just works really well. And I do like that you can deepen up the look a little bit if you want, because, you know, we don't always want to go just minty green pastel vibes, right? But like the colors are fun. Like they're kind of weird together, but they're fun. So this is a fun palette to play with. Again, that mint green really makes it, but all the other colors are excellent as well. And it's just a fun palette, and no one else loved it as much as I did. But I thought that was a great one. I went back and forth on whether or not to include this palette in this video because, to be honest, I haven't used it very much. Probably 3 to 4 times. But the times that I have used it, I have really enjoyed it. And this is giving me end of spring, beginning of summer vibes where just things are in bloom. And this is the Serenity palette from Menagerie Cosmetics. And this was done in collaboration with Annette. And I just think this is a gorgeous, gorgeous palette. So we have some bright blooming colors and they are pigmented. There is not a lack of pigment to be seen in this palette. Now, I haven't played with the mattes as much, which is one of the reasons why I wasn't entirely sure I wanted to even include it, because I don't think that's fair to include palettes that I haven't used extensively. But again, the times that I have used it, I've enjoyed it so much that I thought it was fair to use it. And this purple in particular in the corner, which is Chrysalis, is just one of the prettiest plummy purples. And it's got like a little bit of a hint of gold in there. And maybe it is not the most spring forward palette, or maybe it is the most spring forward palette, end of spring, I would say. But I just like the bright colors just remind me of, like, again, blooming flowers in spring. And this is another one that, like, even though I haven't used it very much, the times that I have used it, I've loved it so much that I want to continue to pull it out. Like, it's really inspired me to be more creative in my looks and not be so one and done all the time. It's a very inspirational palette, but it is one where I like to take my time. Like, if I'm rushing in the morning, this is not what I'm gonna pull out. Like, I wanna take my time to really like do a fun, complicated look with this palette. And I think actually next time I go to Disneyland, I might bring this palette just because the colors are so bright and vibrant and it reminds me of Disneyland. So I don't know. Again, I wasn't sure if I wanted to include it, but I really have been enjoying it and it really does give me spring vibes. So that's why it's in here. I will be playing with it more, but if you have this one, let me know if you like it. This was a limited edition from Menagerie, so not a lot of people got it, I don't think, but if you have it, let me know how you like it. Okay, this would not be a favorite video if I did not include a eyeshadow palette from Beauty Bay, because Beauty Bay does not get talked about enough. I love Beauty Bay and I love their palettes. And this is the one that is, again, borderline pastel, but reminds me of spring. And that is the Retro Love palette from Beauty Bay. A retro girl, I am not. You know how some people are like, you know, have old souls? I truly don't feel like I'm one of those people. Everything is kind of exciting and new. So not an old soul, but still can respect a retro palette. This is the retro palette, the inside of it. And what I really like about this palette is I feel like they've kind of divvied up the corners into quads that work really well with each other. And forget the middle row, forget that row, but everything else, it's just the quads are perfect. And I'm kidding. The middle row is great too. But the ones that I really find myself reaching for, again, it's gonna be purple. I am a purple girl. And this is not only a minty spring, but it's also a pretty purpley spring too, at least in my eyes. So this is my girl. Just, such a pretty purple. And I still can't get over that one from Menagerie. The one from Menagerie is so pretty. But that is my girl. And Beauty Bay is a brand out of the UK and it doesn't get talked about enough. It needs to be talked about more because it's so affordable. It's like very comparable, I'd say, to like ColourPop pricing. And it's just, they come up with really fun palettes. Like the color stories are always really fun. And this one is no different. I just think the retro palette has a great color story. It's really fun. It's perfect for spring. It really, really works. And I have been enjoying this one a lot over the past few weeks. I keep reaching for that purple. I need to like expand into the other areas of it, but that purple just keeps drawing me in. Last, but certainly not least, from Adapt Cosmetics, we have the Cyborg Choir palette. And first of all, look how beautiful this is. It is just, everything about this palette is beautiful. The shimmers are beautiful. The mattes are fine, but the shimmers are intense. So I'm not gonna do another purple, even though I'm tempted, but like Cybernetic Spark, this blue one here, bluish greenish purple, they're very shifty. They're very, very shifty. And as you can see, like there is a lot of layers to these colors, but look how pretty. Oh my God. It's very like, it's giving me a little bit of like early 90s spring. It's a little bit more kind of like Retro Love, a little more retro in the color story. You're getting bright blues, bright pinks, but I just am always blown away by the shimmers. The shimmers are just so stunning. And you can basically put them on top of anything and really pump up your look. Your look goes from, I don't know, a 10 to a 25 out of 20. So it really does amazing things. These shimmers are so beautiful. I will swatch one more. Let's do the yellow. So Cyber Symphony. Again, it's just this like luminescent, bright, vibrant, shiny, gorgeous shimmer that like, okay, again, like my swatching is failing today. Let's do it up here. But it's just so beautiful and it just blends out so easily. Looks so smooth on your eyes, no chunkiness at all. It's just a really beautiful like eyeshadow formula. And Adept is a brand that over the past year I've really fallen in love with. I just think they make some really creative and just like special because they're unique. They're unique palettes. They all have like really cool kind of weird themes that I really respect. And like, they're fun and they're not repetitive. I find them all to be like really unique and different. And that's what I liked about this one. It's very unique. This was actually a palette that I was not sure that I wanted. I was like, I don't really need that one. And I'm so glad that I got it. Again, the purples you cannot beat, but like that blue, just so pretty, so stunning, just like so like bright and like almost neonish, which is, I feel like pretty fitting for spring. Really fun. And honestly, like I chose all these palettes because I find them to be really fun to play with, really easy to work with for the most part. I'd say the menagerie is a little bit tricky just because you have a lot of bright colors and you want to make sure you're not overwhelming your eye look, but everything else is just so easy to work with, so easy to play with, and it just reminds me of spring. So these are the eyeshadow palettes that I am bringing out of the closet, I am playing with in spring, and yeah, just remembering how much I love them because I can't use eyeshadow sticks every day. I'm not that person yet. I need my eyeshadow palettes. So these have been really fun to play with. Now, let me know, what have you been using on your eyes in spring? Are you an eyeshadow stick one and done? Because I get it. It's been a weird year. Or is there a specific palette that you've been pulling out a lot lately? I would love to hear from you, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye!